Welcome class. Today we are going to talk about quality for garment manufacturing facilities. This is session 14, and what we are going to talk about three broad areas. One is quality systems for apparel production, second is AQL, which is acceptable quality level, and the third is AQL sampling techniques. All these three areas, first one, quality systems for apparel production, is it's a healthy mix of theory as well as practical inputs. AQL and AQL sampling techniques both are theory as well as practical, and knowledge of AQL helps a person to understand the kind of quality that is required by a customer, and this quality is in terms of numbers. So if a person, if a buyer or a client says that my quality requirement is very high, it is a very vague term. So normally when you become a part of the apparel trade, the regular conversation would involve talking in terms of numbers. And when you are getting in touch with a new customer and you want to take orders from that customer, you should always ask that what is the quality level that you accept. So the buyer or the client, they would always give you a number, and AQL happens to be the most prevalently used term, and it's in terms of a particular number that is given by the buyer, and you can understand at what level of quality you will have to give, again in terms of numbers. So we go to the first section, which is quality system for apparel production. When we say quality systems for apparel production, please remember there are quality systems for any kind of production of a product or a service. And one of the most well-known and most well-regarded quality system is ISO, which is International Standards Organization. So we're going to touch upon ISO also. What is quality? Quality definition as per ISO 8406 is the totality of features and characteristics of a product or service that bear on its ability to satisfy stated or implied needs. Meaning to say that the features and characteristics of a product or service should be able to satisfy your need. If you want to win a race, you have to have a car which should be able to reach 100 miles per hour in less than, let's say, 3 to 4 seconds. So it is the ability of the car to achieve that speed within that given amount of time. Similarly, the features and characteristics in a t-shirt should have the capability to satisfy your needs, your expectations. Okay, so we come to the quality system. What is a quality system? Quality system is also referred to as quality management system. And quality management system is more used rather than quality system. It is a mechanism for managing and continuously improving core processes to achieve maximum customer satisfaction at the lowest overall cost to the organization. So, quality system is something that helps you to achieve customer satisfaction while incurring the least amount of resources. By bringing together the philosophies, standards, methodologies, and tools, the QMS helps an organization achieve its quality-related goals. We were talking about quality system, which is also referred to as quality management system. It is so we talked about so by if you look at the last paragraph, by bringing together philosophy, standards, methodologies, and tools, the QMS helps an organization achieve its quality-related goals. So today we are going to talk about the quality management systems, which would also include the methodologies. Now, what is a quality system? Quality system is a specific implementation of quality philosophies, concepts, standard methodologies, and tools for the purpose of achieving quality-related goals. Now, an organization may have different types of goals. One would be in terms of, let's say, how many innovations are you doing. Second would be in terms of the market share that you have. Third could be in terms of kind of brand loyalty that you've been able to achieve among the customers. Similarly, you also have to have a quality related goal. Now, a quality system is usually documented and is often based around a quality manual that defines and embodies the system. Yesterday, I have shared the quality manuals for different buyers. And yesterday, we had also discussed one section, GPT, garment packaging test, garment package testing, which is used by Ann Taylor. So, if you're talking about a quality system and if it is in place, it must be documented. So if you meet any client and you say that you have a good quality system in place, the buyer is definitely going to ask you that you must be having a quality manual. Where is that? So do not claim to have a great quality system if you do not have a quality manual in place altogether. And and ISO 9001 is the best example in the world for QMS, quality management system. I'm sure you all have heard about ISO, and it is desirable for firms to have ISO certification. Like it or not, or believe it or not, I'm sure you would know this, that an organization which is ISO certified, you would have more faith in that organization rather than another organization providing the same product or service but not having ISO certification. So ISO certification always helps, especially in today's business environment. Now, what is ISO 9000? You've heard about it so many times. We'll just discuss it in brief. ISO is a nickname to International Organization for Standards. In English, it means International Organization for Standards, standardization. In French, it is International Standards Organization. And an international standard followed in more than 100 countries. ISO is an NGO established in 1947 by International Standard Agency headquartered in Geneva. And principles are applicable to all organizations, meaning to say you're running a petrol pump, or you have a retail store, or you are a consultant, or you are into education. Any such body which is creating some product or service, for them ISO is relevant. Okay, so again, what is ISO 9000? Specifically speaking, it is a written set of standards which describe and define the basic elements, clauses of the quality system needed to ensure that an organization's products or services meet or exceed customer needs and expectations. Now, if you do consumer behavior survey, it will tell you about the customer's needs and expectations. Once you have that in place, you will have to incorporate all those things in your product and your service. So, to know what is needed, you have to do the survey. How will it be done and how will you maintain it in the long run is what ISO helps. Okay, ISO 9000 is a standard for quality system, and ISO 9000 is not a product. It is based on documentation and is premised on the following. I want you to remember this very nicely. Document what you do what you document, prove it, and improve. These 3 lines pretty much summarize ISO. And in fact, this is something, if you do this, you'll be very, very successful in your life at a personal level as well as professional level. Now, what it says is document what you do. So whatever you do on a daily basis, in the class, at home, whatever, just write it down. What are you doing? And then analyze it, and then you will be able to realize that how can you improve. So once you know how can you improve, you have written down how can you, if you visualized, if you have been able to surmise that how will you be able to improve, write it down. So do what you document, and then improve. So meaning to say that if you're planning to do something, write it down. And once you've written it, do accordingly. And when you do accordingly, gauge whether you've been able to achieve that level of quality or not. And you do it again and again so that you are able to ultimately achieve that quality level. So you do it again and again, and if you are able to do it again and again, you have proven. But once you have proven, it does not mean that it will happen throughout the future. So you have to do it, you have to prove it, and because times keep on changing, so you'll also have to improve. This is primarily what ISO 9000 says. And ISO 9000 emphasizes prevention. And everyone knows prevention is better than cure. So all the systems which are envisaged in ISO 9000, it emphasizes prevention. It ensures that accidents do not happen, losses do not happen, you don't end up with unsatisfied customers. And like I said, ISO 9000 it's a universal thing. It is a universal standard. The focus is on what needs to be done and not how it is to be carried out. So, meaning to say that ISO 9000 does not contain any such material which will tell you how to produce apparel or how to supply it or how to run a petrol pump. It is very generic. It is a universal standard. The focus is on what needs to be done, and what needs to be done is mostly about what does the organization do, and what different divisions are there in the organization, who are heading the organization, what are the different levels of people who are doing various kinds of activities, and what are those activities has to be written down, and what, as per the company, is a perfect way of working for a particular person. So when you talk about a petrol pump, there is an attendant, there is a manager also, there is someone who's doing the cleaning, there is someone who's doing the record keeping of the petrol and diesel and other things, there is someone else who's selling the mobile and other things which are there in the showroom part of the petrol pump. So what is the organization actually supposed to do, and who's supposed to do that, and is that person aware of what he is supposed to do, and is that person aware that what is a great quality when we're talking about his or her performance. So if you are giving petrol to the customers, how do you do it? How you should do it? What is the perfect way of doing it? So you wish the person, then you ask the person how much of petrol required, and then you also ask the person to look at the zero. And once that is done, then you give the petrol, and then you have to take the money and give the change if required. Fairly simple. This is just one thing related to the person who is actually giving the petrol. All the people who are working in the petrol pump, they must know what are they supposed to do and how are they supposed to do. Okay, so if you want to build an ISO 9001 compliant quality management system, what you need to do is identify and map processes, administrative, organizational, operational. So when you talk about NIFT, how will NIFT be administered, or what is the administration supposed to do, in terms of safety, security, security guards, and the running of the entire organization. Organizational is when we are looking at the faculty members and the staff and the people in the library and people in the canteen, etc., etc. That's the organizational part. The operational is looking at the small activities in totality, which ensure that NIFT runs smoothly. So operational is something like the toilets have to be cleaned every day. Every 15 days, the water dispensers have to be checked whether they are clean or not. Operational is on the day-to-day basis, the housekeeping, the record keeping, the library, and things like that, and the day-to-day things which accounts people do. And of course, operational part also includes the classes which are happening, whether the attendance are happening on time or not, and things like that. That's operational. Now, the second is determine how processes are interrelated. That is, identify and map a cross-cutting activity that span organizational boundaries. So, how processes are interrelated? Until and unless the geysers in the hostel are working properly, and until and unless the canteen opens on time, students will not be able to reach the class on time. The ones who don't want to come on time, it's a separate issue altogether. But right now what we are saying is that until unless the hostel and the canteen are not working properly, the hostelers will not be able to reach the class on time. Therefore, we were on the second one, which was determining how processes are interrelated. We had talked about the hostel and the canteen and the classroom. How are they? How the correct functioning of the canteen and the hostel is related to the correct functioning of the class. Third one is plan for operations and control of these processes. So plan for the operation, how is the institute supposed to run, and control is just in case things do not go as per what was planned, then what are the corrective actions that need to be taken and who will take those actions. So plan for operations and control of these processes, recognizing that the conditions and specifications for control of each of these processes may be different from one another. Condition and specification for control. So condition and specification for hostel is going to be very different from the condition and specification in case of a canteen, which is again going to be very different from the condition and specification in case of a classroom. Okay, we proceed ahead. Plan for dynamically allocating resources to accommodate the demands of the operations and control of these processes. You will understand this very nicely. Plan for dynamically allocating resources. When you have this 5 days, Monday to Friday, you will see that Monday to Wednesday, your classes are happening at the same place, but then on Thursdays and Fridays, the allocation of resources changes dynamically. And as per your GEM and GEO and IDMs, you have to go to various other classes, and you are sharing the resources with the students of other departments also. So you plan for dynamically allocating resources and then apply systems thinking and describe the environment that your interdependent processes are embedded with. So if you were to run the institute, then you'll have to apply systems thinking and describe the environment. So what does the environment look like? So you have many stakeholders here. There are third parties who are giving you the functions of canteen, the housekeeping, security, etc., etc. And then there are people who are working within the organization, where you have again 3 sets of people: the faculty members, the staff, and then you have the students. So you have to apply systems thinking, and then you have to figure out as to how this institute is going to run smoothly, and which person or which sets of persons will be vested with what kind of responsibilities. And also you will have to ensure that the people who are taking up certain responsibilities, they should be clearly aware that what is the quality of performance which is expected of them. So they know that they have to be on time, and their responses should be within certain amount of period. In terms of when you get an email, you should be replying it within half an hour or 1 hour maximum, something like that. So you have to explain in clear terms about all the things that a person does, and in those things which the person does, what is the performance expectation. And the last paragraph, identify mechanisms to measure, monitor, analyze, and continuously improve the processes in the context of organization and its environment. So here, how do we measure the how do we measure the performance of the student? So we have these assignments, group assignments, solo assignments, and then we have the presentation or written exams and things like that, and then you have your GEM and GEO. So we are exposing you to different kinds of activities, and then we are exposing you to the assignments. And once you've made the submission, then it will be measured and analyzed, and then you will be getting your marks. The monitoring will be done through mentoring, through the inputs received from the various faculty members as to the students, whether they are punctual or not, whether they're disciplined or not, how much they are interacting in the class. So all of that will fall under monitoring. And analysis, of course, is once the results have come out, then you can analyze. Once the submissions have been made, it can be analyzed. And then, of course, mentoring is what is provision to continuously improve the processes. So just in case a student is not able to perform well, then there is a mechanism for every student being assigned at least one mentor. And that mentor can monitor, analyze, and then figure out as to how to continuously improve the performance of the student in the context of organization and environment, in the context of NIFT and the environment in which NIFT is operating. Okay, and you have to establish an action plan for proactively deploying the Q quality management system throughout the organization. So, India, and it is normally said that planning is very easy, and people can come up with great plans, a great idea. Then the difficult part is implementation of the idea or implementation of the system. So building systems, we are very good at it, but then how well are we able to execute it? So you plan, you've done the planning, the strategy and everything, then you have to write down the action plan as to who is supposed to do what and by what time, the target dates. So establish an action plan for proactively deploying the quality management system. You have the system, but there is no action plan, you cannot implement it. And we are saying deploying the quality management system throughout the organization. So which means the system has to be understood by all the people who are working in the environment, the organizational environment, and each person has to understand their role and responsibility in this entire gamut of activities, which are done to ensure that it runs smoothly and ensure the records are kept that track compliance to the QMS and changes that are made to the QMS itself. So planning has been done, action has been initiated, but then whether the actions are being done correctly or not, you have to have the records. So someone will have to record. So if the housekeeping people are coming, they have to come on time. So we have told them you have to come on time, but then who's keeping the record? So if you see, just beside the canteen, we have a biometric for only the housekeeping people. So they have to come and they have to punch. So only if they punch, their attendance will be recorded. So this is just one example of how the records are being kept. Similarly, whether you are coming on time or not, or whether you are attending the class or not, for that we have a record which is the attendance register. If we have a biometric system in front of all the classes, then recording is going to become fairly simple and truth will be recorded, because whenever a student comes, you will have to punch. Only then you get the attendance. So when the data is recorded, there's no way a student can tell a lie that I have been coming on time and things like that, because the proof is that we have that kind of system which tells that student has been coming on an average 15 minutes late, or someone has been coming on time, or whatever. So records have to get that, and records are there to track the compliance, whether things are being done accurately or not, or with what level of accuracy it is being done. And just in case there are any changes being made to the QMS, the quality management system, then those changes are to be told to everyone who are affected by this change in the quality management system. And the new system is implemented, then again records have to be kept. Records have to be made to see whether the new system is being followed correctly or not. Okay, and what is the structure of a quality system? So if you see, the structure will have to have broad areas, broad sections. One is the organization, the second is the personnel, the people working, and then third is the equipment. You see the equipment, it is there in the classroom also, or in the labs also. And then of course there is purchasing and inventory. It is important because if NIFT is functioning smoothly, there's a lot of purchasing and inventory happening. So purchasing is purchase of services, purchase of products, purchase of the chemicals which are there in the textile lab, etc., etc. And then of course the inventory, whether it is being maintained or not. If you go to the textile lab, there has to be an inventory of the chemicals and acids and other things. Otherwise, the class, when it starts, then you realize that one of the chemicals has fallen short, and therefore the entire class is delayed because the inventory was not maintained. Similarly, we have, and then there has to be process control. Processes have to be laid in place, and then they also need to be controlled in a way that the desired results are achieved. And then whatever you do in your life, if you don't have any documents or records, it means nothing. A very simple example is if you have graduated from a college, if you don't have the certificate from there, if you don't have the record, it means that you haven't studied and you haven't cleared the exams. So documents are so important. So if it is important, then when you are clearing exams and getting the certificate from the institute, similarly, all the documents and records have to be there for NIFT to prove that yes, we have been doing things and we have been doing it on time, and we have been monitoring it, and we are also evaluating whether they are being done on time or not, whether they are being done with that required level of accuracy or not. And If not being done, then the persons are being told about it or not, that you are not doing things on time or you're not doing it the way it should be. So documents and records are the most important thing. And then if you go to the seventh point, which is internal assessment. Internal assessment is what we have the exams and we do the internal assessment of your performance, and then you also have the final jury where we have people coming from the jury is comprised of the faculty member as well as faculty members from other departments. Then we have process improvement. Whatever processes have to be there, you envisage that, then you do it. After doing, you record, and then you see whether it is being done correctly or not. And then if you realize that this process can further be improved, then the process improvement is also a part of this quality system. And if you talk about any kind of business, or if you start any business, at the end of 1 year, please definitely ask that have we made any improvement in any of our processes? Because if you're not doing that, your chances of success, your chances of surviving the market is going to be less, because all the processes continuously have to improve. Next point is service and satisfaction. Services have to be dispensed with, and satisfaction has to be guaranteed. In case of the customers have to be satisfied. Next is facilities and safety. So look at the facilities, infrastructure, and the safety. So in terms of safety, you have the security guard. In terms of safety, you also have those fire extinguishers. You also have the hose pipe, which is connected to an overhead tank, which has 20,000 liters of water. So just in case there is fire, and which can be put out with the help of water, then that system is already in place. And then of course you have information management. Information management would include your CMS. It would also include your attendance and things which are happening, information to you about various assignments, delegates, etc. Or when you get marks, then it is uploaded in CMS. So all of these things are applicable to any business, just like it is also applicable to NIFT. And it is also applicable to all the government departments or non-government departments. So it's something that is very universal, and it's not related to a particular product or service. It is something very universal. So all of these are essentials. And okay, so why QMS? The goals of QMS is for any firm or a brand is to operate efficiently and effectively, meeting regulatory requirements. So let's work in such a way that we don't break any government laws, and let's be efficient, not be wasteful, and let's be effective, not ineffective. Efficient is for given amount of resources, how much can you produce, and effectively is when you're trying to do things and whether you're able to garner that kind of results. Second goal of the QMS is to be managed with the interest of the customer. You are there in the market because of the customer. So quality management system also teaches you that whatever you do, keep the interest of the customer in mind. So manage things in such a manner that the customer's preferences and desires are fulfilled. And of course, the third point is to ensure that everyone understands who is responsible for doing what, when, why, where, how. A sweeper is supposed to sweep. Let the person know what is he supposed to do, when is he supposed to do, why is he supposed to do, where is he supposed to do, and how. If the sweeper does not know about it, you have failed. You haven't made this person understand clearly what is this person supposed to do and how, and when and where, and other things. And the goal of QMS is also to continuously strive for improvement. Kaizen, K-A-I-Z-E, Kaizen is one system which talks about continuous improvement. Today, we are trying to improve. How we're trying to improve? So you must be thinking about, or you must be looking around you, and you realize that everyone is trying to figure out that how are we going to now start our life again after this corona is gone. There will be a lot of improvements which will be required. So for the same kind of gymnasiums or for the same kind of restaurants that you are going to have your food, Now you will not go there until there are requisite amount of improvements made to those restaurants. Because now you will be thinking that God knows what kind of food they will give me, and it may have germs or viruses and things like that. So now those restaurants will have to make improvements, and they will also have to tell you in terms of advertising communication that these are the changes that we made after Corona. So today, rest assured, whatever you have from our restaurant is going to be super healthy and super clean. So that improvement will be seen by you guys. Why do we need quality management system? To achieve customer satisfaction through quality products that's why we need QMS. QMS is going to help you to gain self-confidence, because you as an owner will be confident that your team and your organization will be able to achieve what you plan because of the quality management system in place. Quality management system will also help you to achieve competitiveness in both the local and overseas markets. You have great system and being followed to the T, you are going to be damn competitive, and it's going to be very difficult for any of the competitors to beat you in the market. And quality management system is also acts as a blueprint for efforts to improve the quality system of the organization. So what we're saying is that it is a blueprint for efforts to improve the quality system of the organization. So if you claim that, sir, we are constantly trying to improve our quality system, and at any given point of time you can compare us with any of our competitors. So anyone is going to ask that, where is the manual that you follow? So that manual is a blueprint of efforts that to improve. So if you have been trying to improve, where are the documents? If you've been trying to improve, you must be communicating with all your people, your managers, your staff, and everyone. So when did you talk to them? Did you send a message to them? Did you ask them to come? Did you organize a meeting? Were there photographs taken? What was discussed over there? Where are the minutes of the meeting? And what were the feedback given by various people, in terms of what are they proposing? How can we improve? So all those things have to be there in the written. That is a proof that you have been trying to improve the quality system continuously. And what are the benefits of quality management system? It encourages active and effective leadership, empowers employees. Employees clearly understand their responsibilities. So ensures consistency. Quality, another word for quality is consistency. Doing the same thing again and again, exactly the way it is supposed to be. And QMS also helps to focus on the root cause of the problems. Because it is a quality management system, you don't go around just trying to find faults with people. You also try to find the root cause of the problems, and then eradicate those root causes rather than firing people. So, and because this quality management system is made in such a way that it gives a lot of opportunity to various people to take initiative and become effective leaders. And it also involves the employees and empowers the employees, because anything that you want to do, QMS clearly mandates that you have to involve people, take feedback from people, and then make changes to the system. So it involves and empowers employees also. Employees have a voice as an individual. And let's look at this. So first thing that we do is we make the quality policy. Then we create the quality system, and then we manage the quality system. So quality policy is the roadmap, and quality system is the vehicle, and quality management is the driver. Driver are we people, and quality systems are the vehicle, the instruments, the methods that we are using. And in the first place, the document talks about how this organization is going to operate. That is the quality policy, the roadmap. Until unless the driver has seen the map and the driver does not have a vehicle, how will the driver move? So you need all these three in place. Okay, so a lot of quality management principles we had seen yesterday also, one by Juran, the other by Deming. This is another set of management principles, 8 quality management principles. One is customer focused organization. You have read it in marketing. You have to be customer focused. Leadership is part of your organizational behavior. Involvement of people is again part of organizational behavior. Process approach. This is more so related to fashion technology. Uh, their approach towards processes are much more intense than what we have in FMS. And fifth one is system approach to management. When you are talking about management, there has to be an orientation to look at this entire management as a system. And sixth is continual improvement. Do not assume that whatever you're doing is the best way to do it, because over a period of time, there are a lot of there is a lot of possibility of improvement, which is a Japanese concept called Kaizen. And seventh is factual approach to decision making, which is part of marketing research. A factual approach to decision making is you have to, whenever you're making decisions, it has to be on the basis of facts and figures. And facts and figures normally come from marketing research or research. You could be doing research in the market, you could be doing research within your organization. It has to be, decision making has to be based on factual approach. The eighth one was mutually beneficial supplier relationship, vendor management, where the explanation for this point is that when you are taking the services of third parties, you have to create such a relationship with the suppliers so that it is mutually beneficial. So, for example, if NIFT is taking the services of, let's say, housekeeping with a third-party vendor, then the quality management system, what it teaches is that you should be working with the third party in such a way that it is beneficial for the third party to work for NIFT, and of course NIFT should be gaining from this from the services of the third party. Now, taking it a little further, earlier the third party housekeeping vendor used to employ people who would use the broom and the mop and other things to clean. And today what you see in the institute is they have those kind of state of the art machinery where this person is sitting on a very small kind of a vehicle and then cleans this the entire floor space. And so in that case the amount of time that it takes is lesser, and the quality of the cleaning is better. So NIFT is benefiting from these and third party should be benefiting from NIFT in such a way that they are motivated to buy as the latest technology which are being used to in the field of housekeeping. So the quality management system should be such that both NIFT also benefits from the third party, and the third party also benefits from NIFT. So it's not just a simple process of you have been given a job at NIFT and you do it and you'll be paid for that and that's it. So NIFT will be getting the best of housekeeping services only if NIFT is bothered about this vendor. And when the vendor has with NIFT, vendor would also try to continuously improve his or her services to NIFT so that over a period of time, this relationship is mutually beneficial. Both the sides, two vertical boxes that you have on both the sides. One side you have the customer requirement and the other side you have the customer satisfaction. And what we are essentially saying, this flow chart has been made very clearly to show the flow of the way things are happening. But this is something which is already known to us, that as an organization, you create products, you sell it to the customers, you take their feedback, any problem that they're facing or any improvement that they would like to have, you have to take the feedback from the customers, and that feedback can be incorporated in the product development process. And
new products or products with improved features and characteristics can be manufactured and then again released into the market for the customers to use it. So this process happens continuously, and over a period of time, you are coming up with new inventions and new product developments, and based on um, the inputs that you get from the customers, you uh, try to make improvements to the product. And if you can also see that the role of the management is to arrange for the resources, because every time you want to invent something or you want to make changes to a product, you will need a lot of money, sometimes less, sometimes more, but then it will be the management which will have to arrange for the resources. So that is what is being shown in this flow chart of quality management system.